Have you ever given much thought to what Elvis actually sang about? Well, you probably don't need to spend too long thinking about it to realize that Elvis actually sang most of the time songs about love. Not love in the abstract sense, like all you need is love, but love between a man and a woman. What you might not realize is that more than half of the love songs that Elvis sang, well over half in fact, were actually downbeat. What I mean by that is that they were songs about relationships that were going wrong or that had already ended, as opposed to upbeat love songs where the relationship was going well or had just started. However, in this video, what I want to talk about is Elvis's most upbeat album. Most upbeat in the sense that it has a higher percentage of upbeat songs in it than, I believe, any other studio album. I haven't really thought about his soundtrack albums because in the soundtracks, Elvis had less control over what he actually sang. He pretty much had to sing the songs that were chosen for the different slots in the movies. With his standard studio albums, he basically got to choose the songs he wanted to sing. And therefore, I think it's fair to assume that he chose lyrics that he wanted to sing. In other words, he liked the lyrics to the songs that he sang. The album in question, what I would say is Elvis's most upbeat album, is That's the Way It Is. This particular copy is a very rare Japanese copy that I'll talk a little bit more about towards the end of the video. But what I want to do before that is just go through the songs on the album and talk about the type of song that they are. And hopefully you'll see that this is, by Elvis's standards, a really upbeat album. So the first album that we have, the first song we have, sorry, is I Just Can't Help Believing. This is definitely a song of new romance. It's definitely not a song about a couple that's been married for over 20 years, not with lyrics such as when she slips her hand in my hand and my fingers fold around it like a glove. I'm very curious about the line, this time the girl is going to stay for more than just a day. You might sort of think, well, that means maybe he's been having some trouble, getting his women to stick around. They stay with him for a day and then they leave him. But I don't think it means that at all. Elvis is a rock star and he could and probably did have lots and lots of one-night stands. So this time the girl is going to stay for more than just a day. I think this means that he's going to allow her to stay for more than just a day. But anyway, that's the first song and it gets the album off to a very upbeat start. A little bit more subtle than that is 20 Days and 20 Nights. This is a song of remorse. It seems to be a downbeat song, but I'd say it's a little bit more neutral than that. Elvis sings, one day soon, I'm going back. He's left his wife and he's been running around for 20 days and he's come to realize that he's made a big mistake. So the question here is, will she take him back? I kind of have a good feeling about this song, and I think she probably will, although ultimately you've got to say this is a bit of a neutral one. Track 3 is How the Web Was Woven. This is actually a twist on what you might call the scheming woman type of song. The woman in question, she's woven her web around his heart, but as Elvis sings, at last I'm where you want me, don't you know? That's where I want to be. So this is actually another upbeat song. Then we move on to Patch It Up. This is an imminent breakup song. Elvis did lots of imminent breakup songs throughout his career. He sings, patch it up, baby, before we fall apart at the seams. I guess the prospects of this relationship are not quite as positive as 20 Days and 20 Nights. Elvis sings, one more night is all I ask. But I still think this is a neutral song. It could go either way. I've actually had a patch it up situation myself a long time ago, not with my wife. And we actually ended up patching it up. We sat down one night and said, we've got to patch it up before we fall apart at the seams. And sure enough, we did patch it up for about a year, and then the seams fell apart. So yeah, I think the Japanese lyric sheet, I wanted to mention that. the Japanese lyric sheet for this album, this song, it says, it should be, let's go back and touch the past. One more night is all I ask. It says here, let's go back and test it again. One more ride is all I ask. Who knows, maybe that's the real meaning of the lyric. Then we move on to Mary in the Morning, a lovely song. This one is what I would call a steady romance. It's not a new romance because Elvis sings Mary's there in summer days or stormy weather. So maybe this is a song about newlyweds. Lovely little song, that one. However, then we get onto a trilogy of downbeat songs. The first one being the last song on side one, You Don't Have to Say You Love Me. I'm going to come back to that one in a moment, but let's move on to the first song on side two, which is You've Lost That Loving Feeling. The title says it all, really. The guy still loves the woman, but she's lost that loving feeling, and he asks her, bring back that loving feeling. Then we move on to I've Lost You, and well, the couple are still together. In fact, they're married and they've got a kid. Elvis sings, it's 6 o'clock and the baby will be crying, but he also sings, I've lost you, I can't reach you anymore. And this also contains a very strong line. We ought to talk it over now, but reason can't stand in for feeling. That's a very powerful line, I think. And then if we go back to You Don't Have to Say You Love Me, she's actually left him by that point. It wasn't me who changed, but you, and now you've gone away. He's still pleading with her. You come back, don't care, just say you don't have to say you love me, just be here. But it's over. I'm afraid it's over. However, going back to side two, we now get a clear run of upbeat songs right through until the end of the album. The next one is Just Pretend. Just Pretend is a song of reconciliation. Just like in 20 Days and 20 Nights, they've broken up. But I definitely think that this is going to be it's going to be okay with this particular couple. He says, what was it now? I can't recall the things we said or why you cried, but now I know it was wrong to go. I belong here by your side. And he also sings, just pretend I'm holding you and whispering things soft and low. Yeah, and I'll come flying to you. All the crying is through. So that one's going to work out okay, I think. So that's definitely an upbeat song. Moving on, we get Stranger in the Crowd. This is a strange song for me, lyrically at least, because we start out at 7:15 in the morning, and he's on the street corner waiting for what we don't know. And then at 10:45, 3.5 hours later, he meets the stranger. Now, I don't think this is a song about a blind date, because if you're hanging around 3.5 hours for a blind date, you're not going to fall in love at first sight. And that's what this song is. It's a love at first sight song. So I reckon he's standing on the corner at 7:15. Don't know why. It's got some reason to be there, but don't know what it is. And then come 10:45, a stranger walks by and they make eye contact and they fall in love. And everything is great after that. He sings, we share the taste of milk and honey. Every day is sweeter than the day before. There you go. Classic love at first sight song. And that continues, really. The narrative continues into the next song, which is The Next Step is Love. So the strangers have met, they've made eye contact, they've had a few dates, and they're going steady, if people still say that. And Elvis then sings The Next Step is Love. The thing about this song is, I kind of feel like the lyrics are almost too personal. I feel like I'm intruding when I listen to this song. Let me read the lyrics to show what I mean. We've walked barefoot through the misty meadows, laughing at each other in the rain. Made some faces at some people in the park and didn't bother to explain. This is kind of detail that I don't really need to know. I do enjoy this song musically, especially the wah-wah guitar. But yeah, the lyrics just a little bit too private for my liking. And although Elvis was singing a lot more mature lyrics by this point, it does contain what I would say offhand, without really thinking about it too much, I would say that this is perhaps the worst couple of lines that Elvis sang in the 1970s. Here we go. We've yet to taste the icing on the cake that we've been baking with the past. That's pretty, that sounds to me like a lyricist trying a little bit too hard. Anyway, great music and definitely an upbeat song. Finally, we come to A Bridge Over Troubled Water. Now, this doesn't strike me as a song about a man and a woman in a romantic relationship. For one thing, Elvis sings If You Need a Friend. So it could be a man offering his friendship to another man or a woman in difficulty. I would call this song an I Can Help type song, where the man is offering himself to the woman should she ever need him. And Elvis did quite a few of those songs over the years. There's Always Me was one. I Can Help itself, of course, was another. And I'll Be There was another one. Frank Sinatra did a really beautiful I Can Help song called I'll Be Around, which is one of those songs that I wish Elvis had recorded. So, as you can see, apart from that trilogy of downbeat songs at the end of side 1 and the beginning of side 2, most of the album is actually upbeat. There are a couple of neutral songs there, which I would argue could go either way. But definitely, if you think about any other Elvis album, they all have a higher percentage of downbeat songs than this one here. So let's take a quick look at the album that I've got in my hands. It's a rare late, early 1980s pressing from Japan. They were not making the gatefold sleeves anymore for this album. And there were another couple of versions with single sleeves like this one here. But this one you can tell straight away by looking at the back cover. There you go. It's very plain. I bet you've never seen that one before, right? At the top, you can see it's got the number 6, and that's because it was the 6th album in a box set of soundtrack albums. There was one other soundtrack, Elvis soundtrack, in that box set. It was Blue Hawaii. And actually, Steve, TCB Sin 73, I know he's got a copy because he showed it on his channel quite a while ago now. Fairly standard Japanese layout here with track listings at the top, some liner notes here, information about the movie. It lists all the songs that appear in That's the Way It Is, and then it's got track by track notes on each song. So, why was that album so upbeat? Was it something to do with Elvis's life at the time? Well, I don't think so, because it was recorded in 1970, the songs on this album. And there were already rumors of Elvis's marriage breaking up in 1970. So I don't think it's got anything to do with him being particularly happy at that time. What about the other songs that he recorded around that time? Well, if you look at the Elvis Country album, the Elvis Country album is almost exclusively downbeat. The only upbeat song on Elvis Country is Whole Lot of Shaking Going On, which is just about having a good time. Whatever that good time involves, I don't know. And the Love Letters from Elvis album does have a few upbeat songs, but it's got far more downbeat songs on it. I think the lyrics in the Love Letters album are a little bit more ambiguous than on some of the other ones from that time. Also, I don't think that the upbeat nature of the album necessarily explains the popularity of the album, because while That's the Way It Is very, very popular with the fans, I would say that From Elvis in Memphis is far more popular with critics, and maybe even also on balance more popular with fans as well than That's the Way It Is. But if you look at the balance of songs on From Elvis in Memphis, it only has, I would say, 3 upbeat love songs. And about half the album, maybe over half the album, is actually downbeat songs. So basically, I think that the reason why this album has so many upbeat songs is just pure chance. It just happens to have more upbeat songs than downbeat songs. So if you could compile an Elvis album, 10 to 12 tracks, entirely made up of upbeat songs, what tracks would you put on those albums? Let's call it, I don't know, let's call it Good Times. 10 to 12 tracks, only upbeat songs. What would you put on the album? I think that's everything, isn't it? Any comments about the content or anything else? Just let me know in the comment section below. But thanks for watching. See you next time. Cheers.